Well, I think for her it was this place where she could be like wild and free, and I think her father allowed her to kind of like run the show there.
Right.
So I think that I think some of her most joyful memories were at Graceland.
Riley Keough thought she was grieving her mother. Instead, she found herself fighting her own grandmother in court over Elvis Presley's most precious possession. And what Priscilla Presley tried to do behind Riley's back will absolutely shock you. Lisa Marie Presley dies unexpectedly in January 2023, leaving behind a devastated family and a multi-million-dollar estate. But before the tears even dried, a legal bombshell exploded that nobody saw coming. Priscilla Presley, the woman who helped build the Elvis empire, was now challenging her own granddaughter's right to inherit it. We're talking about Graceland here, people, the holy grail of rock and roll. The mansion where Elvis lived, where he's buried, where millions of fans pilgrimage every single year. And Priscilla was essentially saying that Riley, Lisa Marie's own daughter, shouldn't be the one controlling it. But here's what makes this story so twisted. Lisa Marie had specifically chosen Riley as the sole trustee of her estate. Not Priscilla. Not anyone else. Riley. Her own daughter. The woman who knew her best, who understood her wishes, who had been by her side through everything. And yet, Priscilla decided to challenge this decision in court. Think about the audacity of that move for a second. Your daughter dies, leaving behind clear instructions about who should handle her affairs, and you decide to override those wishes? That's not just family drama. That's a declaration of war. Riley herself described the aftermath of her mother's death as complete chaos. She said everyone was in a panic, trying to understand how to move forward, and in the middle of all that grief and confusion, Priscilla drops this legal challenge like a nuclear bomb on the family. Now, you might be thinking, maybe there was a good reason. Maybe Riley wasn't qualified. Maybe there were concerns about her ability to handle such a massive responsibility. But that's not what happened here. Lisa Marie knew exactly what she was doing when she chose Riley. She wanted someone who would protect not just the business, but the legacy. Someone who understood what Elvis meant to the family and to the world. The stakes couldn't have been higher. We're not just talking about money, although there's plenty of that involved. We're talking about the future of the Presley name, the preservation of Elvis's memory, and the control of one of the most famous homes in America. Graceland isn't just a mansion. It's a cultural landmark. It's where Elvis's story lives and breathes every single day. But Priscilla's legal challenge threatened all of that. By questioning Riley's appointment, she was essentially questioning Lisa Marie's judgment, her final wishes, and her right to decide who would carry on the family legacy. And the timing? Absolutely brutal. Riley was still processing the loss of her mother, and now she had to gear up for a legal battle with her own grandmother. The family business side of the Presley empire is massive. Riley explained that there are huge business aspects that needed immediate attention, and they needed clarity on how to handle everything in the wake of Lisa Marie's death. But instead of unity during this tragic time, they got courtroom drama and public speculation about family rifts. And here's what really gets me. This wasn't just about who would make business decisions. This was about who would have the power to shape Elvis's legacy for generations to come. Who would decide how Graceland operates, how the Elvis brand is managed, and how the family's story is told to the world. Riley found herself in an impossible position. She was grieving, she was trying to honor her mother's wishes, and she was fighting for her right to protect the legacy that meant everything to her family. All while her own grandmother was challenging her every step of the way. The question everyone was asking was simple. What could possibly drive Priscilla to make such a move? What was really behind this shocking power grab that threatened to tear the Presley family apart forever? To understand why this legal battle was so devastating, You need to know the truth about Lisa Marie's final days and the absolute chaos her death created behind the scenes. And Riley's insider account of what really happened will break your heart. Lisa Marie Presley died at just 54 years old from complications following bariatric surgery. A bowel obstruction that should have been manageable became fatal. And just like that, Elvis's only child was gone. But here's what Riley revealed that nobody knew. Lisa Marie had always sensed her time was limited. She told Riley she always knew she wouldn't be here too long. It's like she had a premonition about her own death. The moment Lisa Marie passed, the Presley family machine ground to a halt. Riley described it as complete chaos, saying everyone was in a panic to understand how they could possibly move forward. Think about it. The only direct link to Elvis Presley was suddenly gone, and nobody knew what came next. But this wasn't just about grief. This was about business. Massive, complicated, multi-million-dollar business. Riley explained that there's a huge business side to their family that most people never see. We're talking about licensing deals, merchandise, Graceland operations, Elvis intellectual property rights, and ongoing revenue streams that generate millions every single year. When Lisa Marie died, all of that needed immediate attention. Contracts needed to be honored, decisions needed to be made, and someone needed to step up and take control. But who? And more importantly, who had the legal authority to make those decisions? This is where Lisa Marie's foresight becomes so crucial. She had specifically structured her estate to name Riley as the sole trustee. Not co-trustee with Priscilla, not a board of trustees, just Riley. That means Riley would have complete control over every aspect of the business, every decision about Graceland, and every choice about how Elvis's legacy would be managed going forward. Riley admits she was overwhelmed. She said it took time to understand all the details of the situation because it was so incredibly complicated. You're talking about a young woman who just lost her mother, suddenly being handed the keys to one of the most valuable entertainment estates in history. But here's what makes Lisa Marie's choice so brilliant. She didn't just pick Riley because she was family. She picked her because Riley understood the weight of the responsibility. Lisa Marie knew that preserving Elvis's legacy wasn't just about making money. It was about protecting something sacred. And she trusted Riley to make the right decisions. The court documents would later confirm that Lisa Marie clearly wanted Riley to take over the estate and all business aspects. This wasn't some last-minute decision or a document that could be questioned. This was a deliberate, thoughtful choice made by a woman who understood exactly what she was doing. But Priscilla saw it differently, and that's where everything went sideways. Instead of supporting Riley during this impossible time, instead of helping her navigate the overwhelming responsibility, Priscilla decided to challenge the very foundation of Lisa Marie's final wishes. The family that should have been coming together in grief was instead preparing for legal warfare. And the empire that Elvis built, that Lisa Marie protected, was now hanging in the balance, while lawyers prepared their arguments. What happened next would determine not just who controlled Graceland, but who would have the power to shape the Presley legacy for generations to come. The courtroom showdown between Riley Keough and Priscilla Presley wasn't just about money or control. It was about something far more personal and devastating. And what came out during those legal proceedings will change everything you thought you knew about this family. Priscilla's legal challenge wasn't some casual disagreement. She was formally contesting the authenticity and validity of Riley's appointment as sole trustee. Think about what that means. She was essentially claiming that Lisa Marie's final wishes were either fake or legally invalid. That's not just questioning a business decision, that's questioning her own daughter's mental state and judgment in her final days. The legal documents painted a picture of a family in complete turmoil. Priscilla's lawyers argued that Riley shouldn't have sole control over such a massive estate. They questioned whether a young actress had the business experience to handle the complexities of the Elvis empire. They suggested that Priscilla, as Elvis's former wife and the mother of Lisa Marie, should have more say in how the legacy was managed. But here's where it gets really ugly. This wasn't just about business control. Priscilla had her own personal agenda buried in these legal filings. She wanted to ensure her own burial spot next to Elvis at Graceland. Can you imagine the audacity? In the middle of challenging her granddaughter's inheritance, she was also making sure she got her preferred gravesite. TMZ reported that Priscilla had specifically requested to be buried next to her late ex-husband. We're talking about a woman who divorced Elvis decades ago, who had moved on with her life, but who still wanted to spend eternity next to the king of rock and roll. And she was willing to drag her own family through legal hell to guarantee that spot. The media had a field day with this story. Headlines screamed about family rifts, about greed tearing apart the Presley dynasty, about grandmother versus granddaughter in a battle for Elvis's crown. The speculation was brutal and relentless. Every entertainment news outlet was running stories about how the family was destroying itself from the inside. Riley was getting hit from all sides. She was dealing with lawyers, court dates, media scrutiny, and public speculation about her family's most private moments, all while still grieving her mother and trying to figure out how to honor Lisa Marie's wishes. The pressure must have been absolutely crushing. But here's what most people didn't understand. Riley wasn't fighting for herself. She was fighting for her mother's legacy and her children's future. When she said that Graceland is absolutely 100% mine, always has been mine, always will be mine, and when it's no longer mine, it will be my children's, she was making a statement about generational responsibility. The legal battle revealed just how high the stakes really were. We're not just talking about a house, even a famous house. We're talking about the control of Elvis Presley Enterprises, the licensing of his name and image, the management of Graceland as a tourist destination, and the preservation of countless artifacts and memories that define American music history. Lisa Marie had sold off most of the Elvis estate back in 2004, but she kept the family home. That decision now looked incredibly prescient. Graceland wasn't just a business asset, it was the heart of the Elvis story. And Lisa Marie had specifically chosen Riley to be its guardian. The court proceedings dragged on for months. Every legal filing was scrutinized by the media. Every court appearance was analyzed for signs of family tension. The Presley name, which had always been associated with music and entertainment, was now synonymous with family dysfunction and legal warfare. But Riley never wavered. She consistently maintained that she was simply trying to honor her mother's wishes. She wasn't power-hungry or greedy. She was a daughter trying to do right by her mom's memory and her family's legacy. The court documents would later confirm that Lisa Marie had clearly wanted Riley to take over the estate and all business aspects. The turning point came when the court had to decide what Lisa Marie would have wanted, and the evidence was overwhelming. The legal documents were clear, the witnesses were consistent, and Riley's appointment as sole trustee was validated. Priscilla's challenge was ultimately unsuccessful. Riley won the legal battle, but at what cost? The family had been through months of public scrutiny, legal expenses, and emotional turmoil. The media had painted them as a dysfunctional dynasty more interested in money than in honoring Elvis's memory. When Riley finally spoke to Vanity Fair about the outcome, she said that clarity had been achieved. But she also revealed something that would completely change the narrative about this entire legal battle. She said that things with her grandma will be happy, that they've never not been happy, and that anything suggesting otherwise in the press made her sad. Wait, what? After all this courtroom drama, after all the media speculation about family rifts, Riley was saying that she and Priscilla had never actually been unhappy with each other. That changes everything about how we understand this story. The legal documents now state that Riley will, to the extent of her authority, allow Priscilla to be buried in the meditation garden at Graceland. Priscilla's burial location will be at the location closest to Elvis without moving any existing grave sites. In other words, Riley gave her grandmother exactly what she wanted. But if Riley was always willing to accommodate Priscilla's wishes, what was this legal battle really about? The real story behind Priscilla's legal challenge will completely flip everything you thought you knew about this family drama, and Riley's mature perspective on what really happened reveals a truth that the media completely missed. Here's what actually happened. Priscilla wasn't trying to steal Riley's inheritance or destroy the family. She was trying to protect it, and Riley, with the wisdom and maturity that clearly runs in this family, understood that from the very beginning. Riley explained it perfectly when she said that all Priscilla wants is to love and protect Graceland and the Presley family and the legacy. That's her whole life. Think about what that means. Priscilla has spent decades of her life devoted to preserving Elvis's memory and managing his legacy. This wasn't about greed or power. This was about a woman who couldn't bear the thought of that legacy being mishandled. When Lisa Marie died suddenly, Priscilla panicked, not because she wanted to control the money, but because she was terrified that everything she and Elvis had built might be lost. She saw a young woman, her granddaughter, being handed this enormous responsibility, and she questioned whether Riley was ready for it. But here's what makes this story so beautiful. Riley completely understood where Priscilla was coming from. She never saw her grandmother as the enemy. She saw her as someone who loved Elvis and Lisa Marie so much that she couldn't help but worry about the future. Riley said it herself, living under the light of someone as big as Elvis is a big responsibility. It's huge. And Priscilla knew that better than anyone. She had lived with that pressure for years when she was married to Elvis. She understood how overwhelming it could be, how easy it would be to make mistakes that could damage the legacy forever. The legal challenge wasn't really about questioning Riley's qualifications. It was about making sure that every possible safeguard was in place. It was about ensuring that the transition from Lisa Marie to Riley was handled with the care and attention that the Elvis legacy deserved. And the media, they completely missed the point. They turned this into a story about family greed and dysfunction when it was actually about family love and protection. They created a narrative of grandmother versus granddaughter when the reality was two women who both loved Elvis trying to figure out the best way to honor his memory. Riley's response to all the media speculation was perfect. She said she doesn't understand what all the drama in the press was about. When asked about Priscilla being buried at Graceland, she said, "I don't know why she wouldn't be buried at Graceland if she wants to be, of course." That's not the response of someone who's been fighting a bitter legal battle with her grandmother. That's the response of someone who understands that family is more important than legal technicalities. The truth is, Priscilla's legal challenge actually helped Riley in the long run. It forced the court to examine Lisa Marie's wishes carefully and confirmed that Riley was indeed the right choice. It gave Riley the legal validation she needed to move forward with confidence, and it ensured that every aspect of the estate transition was handled properly. Now Riley owns Graceland, just as her mother wanted. She controls the Elvis legacy, just as Lisa Marie intended, and she's doing it with her grandmother's support and blessing. The legal battle that looked like it was tearing the family apart actually brought them closer together. Riley says that sharing Graceland with the world was Priscilla's idea from the start. That tells you everything you need to know about Priscilla's motivations. She's not trying to hoard Elvis's legacy for herself. She wants to share it with the world, to make sure that Elvis's story continues to inspire people for generations to come. The Presley family is now stronger than ever. Riley has the legal authority she needs to protect the legacy. Priscilla has the assurance that Elvis's memory is in good hands, and the world gets to continue experiencing the magic of Graceland and everything it represents. Elvis is buried in the meditation garden at Graceland, between his grandmother and his father. His mother is there too, along with Lisa Marie and her son Benjamin, who died by suicide in 2020. Soon, Priscilla will join them. It's a family reunion that spans generations, all united in their love for the king of rock and roll. Riley understands that she's not just managing a business or maintaining a tourist attraction. She's preserving a piece of American history. She's protecting something sacred, and she's doing it with the love and support of her family, including the grandmother who challenged her not out of spite, but out of love. The legal battle that looked like it might destroy the Presley family actually proved how strong they really are. When it mattered most, love won over legal technicalities. Family loyalty triumphed over media speculation, and the Elvis legacy remains safe in the hands of people who truly understand what it means. That's the real story of Riley Keough's fight to save Graceland. It was never really a fight at all. It was a family figuring out how to honor their greatest treasure while protecting it for future generations. If this family drama shocked you, smash that like button and subscribe for more celebrity family secrets. Have you ever had to fight family members over an inheritance? Drop your stories in the comments below. And don't miss our next video exposing another Hollywood family's hidden battles.